Chapter 5, Neverland. I colored in my drawings with pastels. White sand, blue sky, warm sunlight. The three of us were always smiling so brightly. How much of it was a dream, and how much of it was real? Can you see? The world is so full of color, but I'm here in this room of cold white marble. All I can do is draw in this sketchbook. Do you know now? I wonder if you do. I want you to know. I'm here. But am I supposed to exist? Hey, Sora, tell me. Through the door, there was another of the same marble halls. Gosh, do you think someone's going to jump out at us again? Said Goofy, walking gingerly, practically on tiptoe. If this room was made like all the others, there would be a stairway up ahead, and the next room upstairs would have a door leading to another world. Does this castle have a top? Donald wondered. Well, it can't just go on forever, can it? Said Sora. I don't know. Donald looked up at the magnificently decorated ceiling. Chandeliers made of marble, just like the flower carvings shone down. All the rooms looked the same with their cold, bright marble, so identical that it was getting hard to say how far they had come or whether they were really moving at all. Maybe when we get to the top of the castle, we'll find where they're keeping Naminé, said Goofy. Yeah, maybe, so let's go. The moment Sora began to run, they saw a silhouette up ahead, moving tremulously. Whack! Someone's there! Donald rubbed his eyes in disbelief. Riku? Cried Sora. A silver-haired boy stood there, Riku, who they had to leave on the other side when they closed the door to Kingdom Hearts. Riku, is it really you? Sora flung himself forward, ready to seize him in a hug. Riku looked just the same as when they'd parted, in his yellow shirt and blue pants, not like when Ansem had possessed him, turning his outfit all strange and inky dark. Sora felt a little relieved at that. What are you doing here? Not happy to see me? Riku's voice was cold, stopping Sora in his tracks. Let me know if I'm getting in the way of something more important. Huh? I didn't mean that. Sora hung his head. Riku hit the mark too easily. Never mind the excuses. I bet you all but forgotten about me. Are you crazy? Sora protested. Come on. I came all this way looking for you. They really had been looking for Riku and King Mickey. And he started looking for Naminé on the way too, but he still meant to find Riku. But you're not anymore, are you? Said Riku. Now the only one you're trying to find is Naminé. You don't care about me. That's not true, Sora burst out. We've been looking for you and King Mickey and Naminé too, Donald shouted from behind him. Well, Sora, you never gave a thought to her feelings, did you? Naminé's. Sora mumbled, caught off guard. Ha! I knew it. You didn't really care about her either. Just because you want to see Naminé, well, it doesn't go both ways. But that wouldn't have crossed your mind, huh? No, Sora hadn't thought of that. I thought Naminé must want to see me too, when I want to see her so badly. But, Sora stammered, in fact, Naminé doesn't even want to look at your face, Riku added. Why not? He couldn't understand it. He thought it would be only natural for friends to want to be reunited, but Naminé really didn't want to meet him at all? You should ask your memories about why Naminé disappeared from the islands. If you remembered that, you'd know. Did I? Did I do something? Is it my fault? Sora asked desperately. He really couldn't remember. What I remember is Naminé suddenly left one day. I couldn't believe it, and I was crying so hard. That's all. But was I really crying because she was gone? It feels like maybe there was something else, something sadder than Naminé leaving, that made me cry like that. But I don't know. I can't remember. Was it my fault? Did she leave because of something I did? What if I forgot on purpose because I couldn't accept that it was my fault she went away? Riku, Sora was pleading. Go home, Sora. I'll take care of Naminé. Anyone who goes near her has to go through me. As Riku said that, a dark fog enveloped him, and he changed. His clothes turned dark and armor-like. Now he looks the same as when Ansem was controlling him? What's wrong with you? Cried Sora. We're supposed to be friends. Please, Sora, since when did you ever care about me? Namine's not the only one who got sick of looking at you. So did I. Riku brandished a sword that looked like some kind of demon's black wing and charged Sora. Riku, stop it! Just in time, Sora blocked Riku's strike with the Keyblade. Yeah. So you've gotten a little bit stronger, huh? Smirking, Riku jumped back. What do you mean you're sick of looking at me? Sora yelled but kept his distance. Why would you say that? Because I was holding it in until now, that's all. I've never liked you, you know. After firing off those words, Riku leaped high and brought his sword down. Sora! Goofy tried to run into the fray. Stay back, Sora shouted, blocking Riku's sword again. I'm gonna take him. Goofy and Donald looked at each other, and Goofy lowered his shield and Donald his wand. If you're serious, then I'm fighting for real too. Sora forced Riku's sword aside and swung the Keyblade without even pausing to breathe. Thrown off balance, Riku barely managed to block him. Hey, are you sure I got stronger, or are you slipping? With that, Sora showed him a slight smile and pushed against Riku's sword with all his might. They'd had so many arguments before, so many pretend sword fights, and so many times they made up, so why would this time be any different? Inch by inch, Sora drove him back and shouted his name just as Riku shoved off and ran for the stairs. With a small, angry sound, he hurled up the stairs. Riku, please wait! Sora tried to follow him, but Riku ran straight to the door that should have been impossible to open without one of those cards and disappeared. Riku! Sora flung himself against the door, fist first. There was no reply. Sora, are you okay? Goofy said anxiously from behind him as he kept pounding at the door. Don't worry about me. But Riku, what happened? Sora turned then, all the strength gone out of him. Jiminy Cricket hopped out of his pocket and looked up at him. He sure was acting strangely, almost as if someone was controlling him again. Those black clothes Riku wore, they were the same as when Ansem had controlled him. But we got rid of Ansem for good, said Sora, but hung his head again. Had they really beaten Ansem once and for all? He couldn't even be sure about that much. Goofy folded his arms. Gosh, I wonder what's wrong with him. Did something happen to Riku's heart? Whack! But what about the king? Said Donald with a jump. He was supposed to be with Riku. When they closed the door to Kingdom Hearts, King Mickey had stayed with Riku. But if something strange had happened to Riku, did that mean the same thing could have happened to the king too? We've got to go help him, Donald blurted furiously, but Sora didn't move. I guess so. Sora, Goofy said, worrying. Then Jiminy spoke up. I know, you're thinking Riku isn't your friend, right? But that's just not true. Oh, Riku said he never liked me, Sora thought. Really? The whole time, even back on the islands? Why not? He did say some awful things to you back there, Jiminy went on. But you gotta remember, we are in Castle Oblivion. Folks lose their memories here a little bit at a time. Riku's probably forgotten that the two of you were such good friends, that's all. Sora looked up finally. Riku forgot? About me? You really think he just forgot? If he just forgot that we were friends, if he only remembers the times when we fought, then maybe that's making him think that he doesn't like me. Right after we were fighting, I would hate him too. I would really think that I never wanted to talk to him again. But then, the very next day, I'd forget that I felt like that at all, and we'd go play together on our island again. That'd be my guess. But Sora, instead of being sad, we have to figure out a way to help Riku get his memory back. No need to mope. If we all work together, why, we're sure to get you through it. Jiminy told him with a heartfelt smile. That's more like you, isn't it? Jiminy's right. You gotta let your friends help. Goofy grinned. Sora let out a tiny sigh and smiled a little bashfully. Yeah, okay. Donald flailed with his wand. No, not like that. You have to be braver. Huh? Oh, I get it. Sora shrugged and brandished the Keyblade with a cocky grin. I'll save them all. Naminé and Riku and King Mickey too. Jiminy hopped up onto his shoulder. There, that's the spirit. Heartless or whatever, I'll take him on. That's our brave hero, Jiminy cheered. Sora laughed quietly. That's all it takes to get him smiling again, Donald whispered into Goofy's ear, smiling himself. Yep, that's our Sora. Did you say something, Goofy? Said Sora. Nope, not a thing. Come on, let's go. Riku and the king are waiting for us. Sora nodded and turned to the door again and raised the card to unlock it. Humid, salty air swirled around them. Where are we now? Sora looked around. The wooden construction felt familiar, but he couldn't quite recall from where. The floor's kinda unsteady. Goofy's nose twitched. I can hear the ocean, too. The sound of waves was all around them. The moon hung in the dark night sky. I know, we're on a ship, blurted Donald. That certainly would explain the unsteady floor. Sora, do you remember coming here before? Said Goofy. Sora had to shake his head. I don't remember this place. What about you, Goofy? I don't remember it either. Goofy's head drooped. Donald, do you? Asked Sora. Nope. Donald looked unhappy about it too. If this world really was made out of my memories, Sora thought, then we must have been here before, but I don't remember it at all. In Monstro, he had at least had the vaguest sense of a memory, but here he didn't even have that, and neither did the others. To think even Goofy didn't remember a thing about this world. Our memories really are disappearing bit by bit. Well, the only thing to do is keep going, said Donald, and Sora nodded. Right, if we don't keep going, we won't find anything. I won't find Riku again. And her, and King Mickey too. They must be somewhere in this castle. I wonder if Riku's on this here ship too, said Goofy, looking a little distant. I don't know. I guess we should look anyway. The moment Sora took a step, something shiny flew above his head and went in glittering spirals around them. Whack! What's that? Donald stared up at the flittering light. It came to a stop in the midst of the trio and revealed itself as the tiny figure of a girl with translucent wings. A fairy. Who are you? Sora murmured. Maybe she's here to help us, said Jiminy, poking his head out of Sora's pocket. The fairy, who was scarcely any bigger than the cricket, flew closer to Jiminy and nodded empathetically. Looks like you're right, said Goofy. She shot up high in the air again, then ahead as if to lead them somewhere. Let's follow her. They began to, but then Heartless seemed to appear out of the air, jumping down to block their way. Whack! Should have known this would happen, shouted Donald, gripping his wand. From beyond the cluster of Heartless, the fairy looked back at them anxiously. Don't worry, we'll keep up with you, Tinkerbell, Goofy called to her. Sora turned. Oh! Hyuk? Goofy cocked his head at the startled look on Sora's face. You said her name. Goofy jumped. You're Tinkerbell? Sora shouted to her, and she spun around, twinkling brightly in reply. Anyway, let's get rid of these Heartless. Whack! Yelled Donald, whacking a Heartless over the head. All right, take this. Sora brought the Keyblade down on another one. So Goofy did remember the fairy's name. The memories weren't completely gone. Just knowing that made Sora glad. All right, here goes. Swinging the Keyblade around him, he ran. They went through a number of cabins and cargo holds, all very similar, and more of the same Heartless came out to plague them. Unable to say how far they'd gotten, they came to a stop. Is it just me, or are all these rooms starting to look the same? Sora sighed and looked up at Tinkerbell, who flew around sparkling. Goofy was looking up too. Maybe we're just going in circles? Some help she was, Donald grumbled, pointedly not looking at her. Tinkerbell darted right at his face and kicked him in the bill. Whack! Holding his bruised bill, he glanced at her sidelong as she hovered above them, giggling. Gee, I think you might have ruffled her feathers, Donald, Goofy murmured, and then they heard a high, clear boy's voice. Tink, what are you doing? You weren't supposed to bring the pirates back with you. The boy wore all green, including his cap, and he flew, alighting in front of them. Who are you? Demanded Sora. The trio stood with their weapons ready on their guard. The boy had his hand up in warning too. Stay back, pirates, or this will be the last fight you pick. Hey, what's the big idea? We're not pirates, Donald snapped, still holding his bill. We're only here because, wait, how can we explain this, Sora? Huh? Sora turned from the boy back to Donald, scratching his head. I don't know. Come on, Donald. Don't put me on the spot like that. What do you think, Goofy? Goofy only cocked his head. Gosh, beats me. The boy burst out laughing at them. Okay, I understand. Sora, Donald, and Goofy, right? I guess if you were real pirates, you wouldn't get lost on your own ship, and you're just funny. Besides, he concluded rather cheekily. That's not very nice, Donald muttered. Wait, so if you thought we were pirates, then this must be a pirate ship, said Sora. That's right. You're trapped inside the Jolly Roger, ship of the old codfish Captain Hook. For some reason, as he said that name, the boy puffed out his chest. Whack! Well, if we're trapped, that means you are too. Donald shook his wand. He just didn't like this kid. Me? Don't be silly. No one can capture Peter Pan. He took a step toward them. I'm just laying low until it's time. Time for what? Goofy wondered. The pirates kidnapped my friend Wendy. She's got to be somewhere on the ship. I just didn't expect there to be so many pirates on watch. I sent Tank to look for a way around, but all she found was you. Sora folded his arms, looking thoughtful. What is it? I bet I know what she was thinking. If we all make a big enough racket, we can distract the pirates, Sora replied, and Tinkerbell happily flew in circles around him. Gosh, you must have read her mind, said Goofy, watching her. So, how about it? Let's work together, at least until we get back above deck. Sora held out his hand to Peter Pan. Okay, why not? Of course I could save Wendy myself if I wanted to, but you guys look like you'd be stuck without me. As if he didn't know what a handshake was, the boy put his own hands behind his back and smirked. Peter Pan was gliding through the air, smoothly avoiding the Heartless, while the trio struggled to follow. Hey, wait up! Peter Pan! Donald yelled after him out of breath. What's the matter? He looped around and floated in front of Donald. We can't run that fast. Well, you can fly, said Peter Pan, as if it would be easier than walking. How? Like this. Peter Pan snapped his fingers, and Tinkerbell flew in a spiral above Donald. Sparkling dust drifted down onto his head. There, now you can fly. Really? Donald took a running start and leaped into the air and fell on his face. Whack! I cannot! Tinkerbell loomed above Donald, twinkling. Goofy cocked his head. What's the matter, Goofy? Asked Sora. Didn't this sort of thing happen before? I don't really remember, Sora said miserably. I can't remember coming to this world or even meeting Peter Pan. I forgot everything. He stared at Donald trying to chase Tinkerbell. There must be other important stuff I've forgotten. But you do remember the important stuff, Goofy told him, which was easy enough to say, but Sora still felt terribly uneasy. I'm not sure anymore. Riku and that girl. If my memories of being happy with them disappear like Riku's did, then I might hate Riku too. When Sora thought of that, it terrified him. And she's really important to me too, but why do I get the feeling I've forgotten something even more important? Whack! Trying to get away from Donald, Tinkerbell had flown up to the ceiling where boxes were piled high, and she paused there. What is it, Tink? Peter Pan drifted up to the top of the stack of boxes. Hey, Sora, there's a trapdoor up here. To be sure, there was a small trapdoor in the ceiling. Gee, that's funny. Goofy clambered up the boxes to look at it. Well, let's see what's up there. Sora climbed too and flung the trapdoor open. Peter Pan! A girl in a blue nightgown ran to him. The room they had climbed up into was different from the ones before, a little more spacious. Hey, Wendy, are you all right? I've come to rescue you with my 3 new lost boys. Peter Pan grinned. Lost boys? Is that us? Don't you have any manners? Goofy, Sora, and Donald all complained in turn, but Peter Pan didn't even seem to hear. Come on, let's get off this leaky old tub and go exploring in Neverland. We'll never grow up. He offered Wendy his hand, but she didn't take it. Listen, Peter, I've got something to tell you, she said, looking quite serious. I want to go home to London. What are you talking about? Why would you want to do that? He glared at her. Hey, do you know where London is? Donald whispered. Nope, never heard of it, Goofy whispered back. Peter Pan glanced at them and sounded more upset as he went on talking with Wendy. If you stay here, we can go on playing forever. But if you go back to London, you'll have to turn into a grown-up. And then you won't be able to come to Neverland. We'll never see each other again. He flew up in the air as he said that, looking down at her. I know, Peter, but I still want to go home. Wendy's voice wavered like she was about to cry. I came to rescue you, and you don't care if you never see me again. He spun, turning his back on her. No, you don't understand. Sue yourself, and while you're at it, rescue yourself. I'm leaving. He snapped and flew back down through the trapdoor. Hey, wait a minute. Sora ran to the hole in the floor and crouched down to poke his head through, but Peter Pan was already gone, shadow and all. And there he goes, Donald fumed. Beside him, Wendy disconsolately clasped her hands over her chest. Peter. Hi. Nice to meet you, Wendy, Sora said gingerly. She looked at them, then curious. Who are you? How do I explain this? He turned to the others. Maybe we can just be the Lost Boys for now? Goofy murmured in his ear. We're Peter Pan's Lost Boys. Well, his friends, Sora told her. Oh, but he's left you behind, Wendy said sadly. Yeah, what should we do? Sora really didn't know. I've got an idea, Goofy exclaimed. Why don't we think of something out on deck? That doesn't make any sense, I think, said Donald. Sora looked up at Tinkerbell, who still hovered above them, glittering. Well, there's still trouble waiting outside. Wendy, you stay in here. We'll find a way to get you out. Oh, all right, Wendy nodded. Be careful. Maybe if you stay here, Peter will change his mind and come back, said Goofy, trying to be encouraging. Come on, guys, said Sora, and they went down through the trapdoor again, back into the storerooms. How do we get out to the deck again anyway? Well, let's just keep going, Donald replied, swinging his wand. But before they could take another step, Heartless were blocking their path. You're not stopping us. Leading the charge, Sora swung the Keyblade at them. Fira! Blizzara! Donald hopped as he shouted spells. One by one, the Heartless turned to light and then nothing. My turn! Goofy knocked one aside with his shield. This sure would be easier if we could fly like Peter Pan, Sora mumbled. He used to wish that he could fly, but that was a silly dream, something only little kids thought of. I think I've been able to fly before, said Goofy. Huh? Sora turned even as he was still swinging at the last Heartless. It was just a dream, though. Goofy put his shield away and looked off into space for a moment. Well, if we're talking about dreams, then so have I, Donald retorted. You too, Donald, said Sora. Donald waddled in a circle around Sora. I was flying like this around a great big clock tower. Gosh, isn't that funny? I think I've had a dream about flying around a clock tower too. Goofy nodded at Donald and grinned. They ran through more rooms and more, and at last they stood in the salty breeze again. Whew, we finally made it out. Donald stretched, glad for the fresh air. A furious shout rang out across deck. There you are, you... A furious shout rang out across the deck. There you are, you rascals! The man they saw wore a big swashbuckler's hat and a mustache. You think you can play stowaway on the ship of Captain Hook? He swaggered closer to them, brandishing the namesake hook he had in place of a left hand, and sneered. Friends of Peter Pan, I'll wager. Are we his friends? Donald murmured. Gee, he sure didn't seem to think so, Goofy replied. Sora turned back to them, scowling. Yeah, the way he took off like that. He even ditched Wendy. I'm not finished talking yet. How dare you ignore him and plot? How dare you ignore me and plot behind my back? Hook ranted, drawing his sword. Uncivilized brats, you're in cahoots with Peter Pan, and no mistake. If you say so, Sora faced him with the Keyblade ready. But either way, you're going to let us off the ship. Ha! I wouldn't be so sure if I were you. The pirate captain gestured with his hook toward the edge of the deck, where a plank stretched out over the water, and standing on it was Wendy! Cried Sora. Apparently, Hook had got her in his clutches while they made their way up to the deck. Any trouble and dear Wendy goes for a stroll off the plank. You wouldn't! Donald covered his face. Believe me, I'd rather not. After all, I need Wendy to bait that blasted Peter Pan. Hook smirked and patted Wendy's cheek. The boyish voice replied from above him. Then I'll just have to take the bait, you old codfish. As light as the wind, Peter Pan swooped down at Hook's head. Peter! Wendy reached for him. Here I am, Hook. Miss me? Insolent brats, this is the day you pay for taking me hand. Hook lunged for Peter Pan with his sword. Uh-oh. The boy nimbly evaded, and in the same moment, he scooped Wendy up in his arms and flew high into the air. Ah! Wah, 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 wah! Hook flailed in alarm as momentum nearly took him right off the plank himself and finally regained his balance. You've made a fool of me for the last time, Pan. I'll cleave you to the brisket. Red-faced with rage, he went first for Sora, who at least wasn't in the air. Ack! Sora barely managed to dodge. Why, you... Thundera! Donald waved his wand and a bolt of lightning struck Hook's sword. He snarled in frustration. Ha-ha! Up here, Hook! Still holding Wendy, Peter Pan flew in circles above the captain. Here, you scallywag! Hook swung his sword over his head, making his footing unsteady again. Hey, over here, Hook! Sora called, copying Peter Pan and running to the edge of the ship. Why you rotten mongrels? Hook roared and made a thrust at Sora, who easily jumped out of the way. And then, it turned out, Hook had no more deck beneath his feet. Ah! There was a terrific splash. Whew! Thanks, Peter Pan. We owe you one. Sora lowered the keyblade, looking up at the flying boy. Well, at first I thought I'd let you handle it, but it looked like you were in a tight spot after all. Hey, you three did pretty good, though. He alighted on the deck when he was still in his arms. Thank you, Peter, she said. After a pause, he looked at her. About London, are you sure you won't change your mind? Peter, I'm sorry, but I really do want to go home, she replied, resolute and stood on her own. I was afraid of that. Everyone grows up, and grown-ups always forget. First, you'll forget what it feels like to be young, and then you'll forget about me, Peter Pan said glumly. How can you say such a thing, Peter? I'll never ever forget you. As she spoke, Tinkerbell left glittering trails above her head. Sure, that's what you think now. He turned away from Wendy and went on with sadness, slowing his words. But when you try to remember me, the memories will be gone. You'll forget. Little by little, one memory at a time. And once you're grown up, there won't be a single memory of Neverland left. Memories forgotten, little by little. Don't say that, Sora blurted. Peter Pan turned to him. Memories don't always come back to us whenever we want them to, even the important ones, said Sora. But that doesn't mean they're gone. It's more like they're sleeping. When the right thing comes along and wakes the memory up, we can remember it. The memories engraved in our hearts never go away. I'm sure of it. Wendy nodded. He's right, Peter. Never, huh? It's funny. I thought everybody who left Neverland just forgot all about it. Then Peter Pan smiled. But I have a feeling you guys just might be different. He picked up Wendy again. Oh, she squeaked in surprise. Okay, Sora, if you say we'll meet again, then I believe you. And with that, he took off. Peter, let's go, Wendy. London is waiting, he said, sounding thoughtful, almost in a grown-up way. Oh, thank you, Peter. He nodded and turned to Sora a last time. Goodbye, Sora. I'll be waiting to see what you look like all grown up. Then he flew up and away into the night sky. Tinkerbell followed, her twinkling glow passing over the faces of the trio. So our memories haven't gone anywhere after all, said Goofy. Of course they haven't, Sora grinned. And Riku's gonna remember too. Then let's get going. Donald jumped with impatience. Yeah, Riku's gotta be up ahead somewhere. Sora went for a door that stood unnaturally in the corner of the deck, looking like it couldn't lead to anything. And they went through. Another marble hall, a very familiar sight by now, and Riku was standing there. Can't you take a hint, Sora? I told you to go home. Not till I rescue you and nominate. Sora retorted with a tiny smile at the corners of his mouth. I don't remember ever asking you to rescue me, Riku said coldly. But Kairi's waiting for you to come home, Goofy exclaimed. Kairi. Riku and Sora both murmured the name almost exactly in sync. I forgot about Kairi, thought Sora. I promised her that I'd find Riku and go home. That's right, Kairi's waiting, Sora echoed. Riku snorted. You're the one who forgot. I told you, when we close the door to Kingdom Hearts, take care of Kairi. He did tell me that, and instead I went on a journey searching for him and King Mickey. But how could I go back to our islands without Riku? We have to be together. I want all three of us running up to the beach. 3? Sora's thoughts tripped there. What about Naminé? Me and Riku and Naminé and Kairi, doesn't that make 4? But there were always 3 of us running up the beach together. Why do I remember 3? Weren't there 4? Or did Naminé leave before Kairi came? No, that's not right. Then when was Naminé there and Kairi? Give it up, said Riku. I'm not going back to the islands. Not for anything. It's not just for Kairi. What about all our other friends? Sora said it more to convince himself to hold on to his memories. You can have those losers. I already forgot them. Hey, that's enough. What about you, Sora? Do you actually remember what they all look like? Their voices? Of course I remember. Sora broke off and hung his head. He couldn't remember. White sand, blue sea, green trees, Riku and Naminé. He really couldn't remember any more than that. Naminé, no, and Kairi too. Who was it we played with on that beach? Why can't I remember it right? Don't feel bad. That's what this castle does to you after a while. Riku smirked. It's great. You forget all the useless stuff and remember for the first time what really matters. And I remembered, Sora. Now I know the one thing that's the most important to me. Useless stuff? Cried Sora. The memories he was losing weren't useless. They couldn't be. Even if he remembered something else important, that didn't make the other things worth any less. Sora knew that had to be wrong. I'm going to stay here and protect Naminé, said Riku. Nothing else matters. Sora stared at him and slowly, with a smile, took a fighting stance with the Keyblade. Hey, Riku, I think I'll jog your memory. You can try. He readied his sword too. Donald, Goofy, Sora called. Whack! Okay, we get it. The other two backed up to the wall to stay out of the way. Just between us, huh? Riku taunted. That's right, 1-on-1. Sora took a flying leap and brought the Keyblade down. He felt the impact all the way to his shoulders. Don't you remember, Riku? We were always fighting like this on the beach. I remember you losing. Riku pushed the Keyblade away and countered. Sora blocked it. Then, you can't remember more than that. I won't forget. I'll never forget what's really important. He swung, and with a clang, Riku's sword went spinning through the air. Riku fell to one knee. Riku? Too bad, Sora. I'm not remembering a thing. Wavering, he stood up again. But we can keep fighting if you want. Sora stepped closer to him and held out a hand. Come on, Riku. Never mind fighting. Let's go help Naminé. Together? Riku shoved his hand aside. Yeah, right. That's just like you. Always barging in on my heart. What's that mean? Sora demanded. Riku tossed his silver hair and frowned. You forgot that too? You never cared. It never mattered to you. He turned away and ran up the stairs for the next door. Riku! Sora yelled but gave up on chasing him and only stared at his feet. Barging in on his heart? What does that even mean? When have I even ever done something like that to Riku? Did I hurt him somehow? Sora, Goofy walked over to him, concerned. You okay? Donald peered into his face too. Yeah, I'm fine. Sora smiled at them. Let's go. We have to get Riku's memories back. Right. Donald and Goofy nodded. No matter what, I'll save you, Riku. To be continued. You have my sympathies, from the heart. But don't waste your time. We nobodies can never hope to be somebodies. Say, Naminé, isn't there something else you can do?